I'm going to review vocab with you, and then we're going to read our short story for the week. So, where's my camera? All right, so first question, why are some animals kept in a cage? What do you think? Yeah, maybe you want to keep them safe or keep other people that are around them safe, or maybe they had gotten in trouble and they had to go in their cage. There would be maybe a lot of different reasons. How is a holiday different from an ordinary day? So what would be different about a holiday from an ordinary day? Yeah, maybe you have special food, different people over, maybe you do certain activities or games on that day, where an ordinary day is ordinary, normal stuff. What is an example of acting suspiciously? So if my son Carson did something bad, what might he be doing to act suspiciously? Yeah, maybe he's acting really nice, or maybe he is sneaking around the house and hiding. Might be doing different things to act suspicious. Tell something you do every day because it is sensible. Yeah, so maybe brushing your teeth is sensible so you don't get cavities, drinking water, eating healthy food, doing homework. All those things would be sensible. How do people keep their pets under control? Maybe you go to obedience school. Maybe you just train them at home and tell them to do certain things. What might you like to do on a Scottish vacation? Now, I know Scottish isn't one of our vocab words, but that was one of our words that you would have to be able to read in your story this week. Okay, I have never been to Scotland, so who knows? Maybe that might be something you need to look up with mom and dad. That might be kind of fun. What kind of training could you do to become a great swimmer? Yeah, so definitely swim lessons, maybe learning how to hold your breath, learning how to do the correct strokes with your arms. Show me a confused expression. Yeah, kind of don't know what's going on. You're kind of confused. What is something unusual that you would like to do? Something unusual. Maybe you want to go skydiving, or maybe you want to swim with sharks.
No.
Something like that might be kind of unusual. What is the difference between something that is traditional and something that is not traditional? So traditional is kind of like ordinary, okay? Things that you are used to doing, okay? How big was the largest mature dog you have ever seen? So that would be like an adult dog. We saw one walking the other day that was probably taller than Carson and Harper. He was huge. Tell about a time you helped someone who was upset. Okay, when we were in school, I saw a lot of you help friends that were upset. Maybe they didn't do well on a worksheet, or they couldn't find a group to join. So a lot of you help people who are upset. All right, so now we are going to read our short story for this week. And if you are following along in your book, we are going to be on page 410. And this one is called From Eggs to Frogs. Oop, my phone keeps moving.
I did that.
I know you did. This one is informational text, so it's going to give us facts. We've had a lot of these this year. And it also says there is going to be a diagram. So kind of like last week we had a chart, a diagram does the same thing and helps us understand things that we're reading. Also on this story we see some headings. So the title of the story is From Eggs to Frogs, but our first heading is From Egg to Tadpole. So if you have questions on these on your test, you could look at the different headings to know which section to look under. So it says, many frogs start life as an egg that hatches in an ordinary pond. The young are called tadpoles. You may look at them suspiciously and feel confused. Why? Tadpoles look like tiny fish, not frogs. And then our next heading, From Tadpole to Frog. So it went from an egg to a tadpole, now from a tadpole to a frog. A tadpole has a tail, but no legs. It uses its tail to stay in control as it swims. So kind of like a boat, has things in the back to help it move. Same thing with a tadpole. A tadpole lives underwater and breathes through its gills, just like fish. As a tadpole grows, it begins to look like a frog. A frog has legs and lungs, but no tail. A frog lives out of the water part of the time. So a tadpole is always in the water, but a frog is only in the water part of the time. Some animals care for their young and teach them how to find food. A tadpole gets no training from its parents. It is able to find its own food. So we've talked about some animals this year where the parents have to teach them how to do everything, kind of like penguins. They have to wait until they're a junior penguin to go hunt their own food, but frogs are able to do that right away. And then our next heading is frogs as pets. It is a good idea to keep your frog in a fish tank, not a cage. Put water in the tank so rocks for the frog to climb on. Sensible owners handle their frogs gently so the frogs do not become upset. They give their frogs water, plants, and the good food they need. So a cage usually has openings, so that wouldn't really be good for a frog because they suggest putting water in there, and if it was a normal cage, the water would run out. So putting it in a cage, you can have rocks and water and everything a frog would need. And if we go back to the other page real quick, if we look at the bottom, that's where it has the diagram and it says life cycle of a frog. So just like we just learned life cycle of a plant, this has a chart for the frog. So number 1, it says a frog lays lots of eggs, and they kind of look like little marbles just laying there. 2, tadpoles hatch from the eggs. Remember, it doesn't look like a frog yet, it just has this really long tail, nothing like a frog. 3, the tadpole grows legs, lungs develop, and the tail starts to shrink. So right now, it kind of looks like a lizard because it has its tail, but it also has the legs. And then 4, the tadpole has become a frog. So all of the tail has now disappeared, and it just has its legs. So kind of crazy how it changes. When we're born, even though we're smaller, we still look like a human. Frogs are different because they go through a lot of different transformations as they're growing up. If you want, on the next page, you can go over the text-to-text, text-to-self, and text-to-world questions and compare both stories, see how they're similar and different. So I hope you enjoyed these stories, and maybe once it gets warm out, some of you will find some of your own frogs or tadpoles while you're walking or going around water. So enjoy!